That's the truth.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, which I think it
Somebody
should be.
doing research.
Hurry this meeting up then. Hurry this meeting up.
We'll try to do it
It's all in your
faster.
hands. We're calling to order. Somewhere I actually have my agenda. So if everybody will turn and stand up, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Stephanie, if you would do a roll call, please.
Member Bryan and Member Estelle will have an excused absence for the record. Chair Clark,
Present.
Vice Chair Stark,
Here.
Member Horning,
Here.
Member Campbell,
Here.
Member Lamug,
Here.
Member Jones,
Here.
Member Aquendo.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. I don't see anything listed in our opening business, so we'll go to the approval of the minutes. I will assume everybody's read the minutes for the work session and the minutes for the last meeting of August 9th, excuse me. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve both.
Yes, both.
Thank you. Do I have a
Second.
second? We have a second by Member Jones. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify likewise. Motion passes. Both minutes for the work session and the meeting were approved. Old business, certificate of appropriateness documents and procedures. I will open the mic to you, Christine.
This will probably be the shortest meeting you'll ever.
Well, it has to be because Paula said she's out of here in 15 minutes.
Just gotta get out of here. So basically, what I'm just looking for is a motion from you all on the items that we discussed tonight. I would like for you to do them as two separate motions. One to look at the major and the minor review chart, and one to look at the certificate of appropriateness application. That motion is going to allow you to move forward with these changes and to meet with staff on the other internal processes that we discussed.
All right. So the floor is open for motion in regards to the certificate of appropriateness review checklist.
I'll make a motion to approve the certificate of appropriateness with the changes and/or additions. I hope I have them all noted. With demolitions wording being changed, porches and enclosures wording being changed.
And
I don't know, do you want her to read what exactly? Oh, and the roof, same material and shape from major to minor.
all right, do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, we'll open for discussion. Did you hear anything that was missed as far as the list of edits?
You know, I did it as a voice recording on my phone to reference later. So that's not helpful right now.
You should have mentioned that to Paula before she was speaking.
I'm not allowed to actually interrupt a board member.
Oh, well, fine.
So if you want to amend that and add any other changes that were noted in the recording by staff. Or by
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion.
You're going to amend your motion?
Oh, if you want me to amend it, I can do that. Amend the motion to include anything that is on the recording for staff as pertaining to changes.
Now you'll concur.
We have a second again on the amended motion. Any further discussion? All right. Seeing none, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, signify likewise. All right, motion passes. You have direction for your changes to your checklist.
Actually, that one was the COA, I think. Was it?
No,
Oh,
Certificate of
sorry,
appropriateness checklist.
The checklist.
Ignore me. Thank
Oh,
you.
As long as you're
Sure.
recording it, we can. So, you know. All
I
right.
do actually go back and listen to every meeting that we have to
Poor
prepare
baby.
for the next meeting.
Your husband just loves, listening to all that at night. All right, then I'll open the floor for a motion in regards to the certificate of appropriateness application.
Before we make a motion, Chair, you had a point in reference to project cost.
Yes, I
Was-
had indicated there wasn't a reason for project cost on the application form because we don't charge fees based off of cost. And
Okay.
yeah, and the fact that we don't address the uses, so the uses were noted to remove those lines where it says cell to make that email, where it's just phone, that could be phone/cell, because they're just typically going to give you one viable contact number. And whatever line work you get, add in for your scope of work. And then the other one was to take the disclaimer that's big and bold and take it to just set and structure font and to correct the misspelling of fee, or correct 2 fees, the E's that are there.
Okay, well, there's your
those are the
motion.
changes. So we have a motion based off the conversation.
And I'll second it.
And we have a second again by Member Jones. Now we can open the floor for discussion. Although, if anybody has a problem with Paula just, like jumping off of the discussion there for her motion, so move. All right, if there's no further discussion, all those in favor of the edits to the Certificate of Appropriateness form motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed signify likewise. Motion passes. So we have both of those motions here. Let's see what's next on the
Thank you for
on
that.
the list. You're welcome. That took care of old business. Is there any new business?
What is the status of the hotel?
I haven't heard anything. I have no update right now. I was actually thinking I need to reach out to the applicant agent and see what's happening.
Is there anything the city is allowed to do to kind of push them along? Because it just seems like it's been, I'm just concerned that the building is going to deteriorate more and more and more, and then it will end up being more of an issue. Is there anything the city can do to
The
say-
city is working on it.
Are they? Okay,
Action is being taken.
okay,
I can bring an update at the next meeting.
okay.
All right. No new business. We'll open the floor for public comment. Is there anybody out in the audience that would like to come up and talk into the microphone?
Now you're on, Tony.
All right, fine. Absent any public comment, we'll go to individual board comments. Are there any individual board members who wish to comment at this time?
No.
This is
Can I
unique
ask-
and a first, I think.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes, you can make a comment in the form of a question.
Okay, yeah. What is it, when it comes to enlarging our historic boundaries? I know we've had this discussion before, and I know that there's several other things that need to be put into place. Where are we at with all that?
So St. Cloud Main Street actually applied for another state grant. St. Cloud Main Street actually was the recipient of the grant for the survey and inventory for our present district, which laid the groundwork for the National Register nomination,
Okay.
which was also a St. Cloud Main Street grant.
Yay, go Paula.
So this year, St. Cloud Main Street applied for a grant to do a survey and inventory for areas outside of what we currently have. And the city applied for a grant to do a preservation plan and update of the ordinance. So that grant review has happened. We will not know if we have funding until this goes to the legislature and they approve. So that's in limbo right now. It takes money to do those things, so we're hoping that we get that grant funding. So when we find out if they're going to fund them, then we'll know a little bit more.
Okay.
All right.
Can I just comment on that just a second? Because I think when we move that forward, if we do get the funding, Christine, we're going to have to talk about the numbers. So I don't know if we want to bring that to the HPB board or if we want to have a separate committee that just looks at those numbers, because what we got from the property appraiser's office in what we would call the grid, which would typically be what we would want to assess, is like 600 to 700 buildings, and the grant won't cover that many. So we're going to have to narrow that down to like that 250 to 300. So, in my estimation, what we need to do is look at the boundaries that are contiguous to the current district going towards the lakefront, and then figure out from
How do we
east to
expand from there?
west, right, how we look at that number. So I don't know, that's something we may want to discuss as we go forward.
Something you also should think about as you're looking at that is trying to find out what the original development pattern was, because ultimately you would potentially want to create a National Register district from that too in the future. And with National Register, they really want to look at what developed at certain blocks with each other. So, you know, if this little pocket developed here as a subdivision, which some of what's in the grid was actually 1920s subdivisions. It's not what we think of as a subdivision, but was back then. So if you only have a part of that in one, then that makes it a little bit trickier when you're going for National Register. So there's a couple of things you would want to consider in that number.
Well, one of the things we definitely want to consider, and I think it would be in the purview of what we're thinking, is where the Aladdin and the Kit homes are, because those are in that area. And so I think that would add to the ability, because we've been going through that so much with this current one, and they're not really there except for maybe the one.
We actually removed any references from the National
Yeah.
Register.
But this next one will have them in it.
Yeah.
All right, absent of
Member
any
Jones?
other comments? So we hit the information, which is our next meeting. Change up, it's not the second Tuesday, it's the first Tuesday, so November 1st, 5 PM for the workshop, 6 PM for the meeting. And with that, our meeting is adjourned. Let's see. Look at that, 4 minutes to go, Paula.
Shortest HPV meeting ever.
Thank you.
So I guess we don't need to order in pizza.
That was sometime.
Can they all be like that?
About these